Galactic Council executes. Human Envoy. Earth initiates absolute payback. The great chamber of Harmony Prime stretched upward like a cathedral made of starlight and cold metal. Hundreds of species filled the circular seats that rose in tiers around the central platform. Ambassador Park J1 stood alone on that platform, his hands bound behind his back, his diplomatic robes torn and stained. He did not tremble. He did not beg. He simply watched the faces of those who had condemned him. High Arbiter Voksun of the Drethery sat upon the highest seat, his scaled face twisted with satisfaction. His reptilian eyes gleamed with cruel delight as he looked down at the human. For 15 years, the Drethery had watched humanity spread through the stars. For 15 years, they have feared what these strange creatures from a death world might become. Today, that fear would end. Ambassador Park J1 of Earth, Voksun announced, his voice echoing through the chamber. You have been found guilty of espionage against the Galactic Council. You have been found guilty of plotting to destabilize our sacred union. The sentence is death. Park looked up at the High Arbiter without hatred. There was only sadness in his eyes, and perhaps a trace of pity. I am guilty of nothing but seeking friendship, Park said calmly. The evidence against me was created by those who fear what humanity represents. But I will not waste my final breaths arguing with those who have already closed their minds. From the lower seats, Councillor Millol of the Veluxi rose to speak. The small four-armed being had fought against this trial from the beginning. This is wrong, Medal shouted. The evidence is false. Everyone knows it. We are about to murder an innocent man. Silence. Voksun hissed. The council has voted. The human dies. Mythal sat down slowly, shame and grief written across every feature. Several other minor species looked away, unable to watch what was about to happen. But none of them had the power to stop it. The Drethery controlled the council, and the Drethery wanted humanity humbled. Far away, aboard the diplomatic escort ship Horizon's Edge, Captain Yoon Seo Yeon watched the live transmission with growing horror. She gripped the armrests of her command chair so hard that her knuckles turned white. Captain, her first officer whispered, should we attempt a rescue? We would never reach him in time, Yoon replied, her voice breaking. And if we attack, they will use it as an excuse to declare war on Earth. The ambassador would not want that. On the platform, Park J1 straightened his spine and lifted his chin. He knew the transmission was reaching Earth. He knew his wife and daughter were watching. He knew that billions of humans would see this moment. I have one final statement, Park said clearly. I address this to my people, to my family, and to the future. Voksun waved his hand dismissively. Speak your last words, human. They change nothing. Park took a deep breath. To my daughter Yuna, I say this. I love you beyond the stars. To my wife, I say this. Thank you for every moment. To my people, I say this. Do not let my death start a war. Let it end one. Show the galaxy who we truly are. Not conquerors. Not destroyers. But something they have never seen before. He paused and looked directly at Voksun. And to you, High Arbiter, I say only this. You do not know what you have done. Not because we will destroy you, but because you have given us a reason to become what we were always meant to be. Voksun laughed coldly. Execute him. A Drethery soldier stepped forward with an energy weapon. The chamber fell silent. Captain Yoon covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Across the galaxy, humans watched in shock and grief. The weapon fired once. Ambassador Park J1 fell. He did not cry out. He did not show fear. He simply fell, and then he was gone. For a long moment, no one in the chamber spoke. Councillor Medal wept openly. Even some of the Drethery soldiers looked uncomfortable. Only Voxuan seemed pleased, his thin lips curved in a satisfied smile. "Let this be a lesson to humanity," Voxuan declared. "You are nothing in this galaxy. You are primitives from a death world. If you challenge the Council again, more of you will die. Now return to your little planet and be grateful we let you live at all." The transmission ended. Aboard Horizon's Edge, Captain Yoon sat frozen in her chair. The bridge crew waited for orders, waited for rage, waited for something. But Yoon said nothing for a long time. Finally, she stood. "Set course for Earth. Maximum speed." "Captain, what do we tell command?" Her first officer asked. "Tell them the ambassador is dead," Yoon said quietly. "Tell them he died with more courage than that entire council will ever possess. Tell them his last words." The ship turned toward home. On Earth, the news spread like fire. Billions watched the recording of their ambassador's execution. They saw his dignity. They heard his final words. And something changed in the hearts of humanity. The government went silent. No official statements. No threats. No declarations of war. Earth simply stopped talking to the galaxy. For 3 days, every communication channel from Earth remained dark. The Galactic Council celebrated. Voxuan boasted that humanity had been broken. Other species whispered that the humans were crying in their corners, too afraid to respond. Then, on the 4th day, a message went out. It reached every station, every ship, every planet in the known galaxy. It was short. It was simple. It was in every language ever cataloged. The message contained only 2 words. We remember. No threats. No promises of violence. Just 2 words that carried more weight than any fleet of warships. Counselor Mathal read the message and felt something strange. Hope. Voxuan read the message and felt something he had not felt in decades. Doubt. And across the galaxy, species who had watched the execution began to wonder. What did humanity mean? What were they planning? And what had the Council truly started? No one knew the answer yet. But they would learn soon enough. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that did not exist on any official record, Director Kang Minho stood before the most powerful leaders on Earth. Presidents, prime ministers, generals, and admirals filled the circular chamber. Every face showed the same expression. Grief transformed into cold determination. "The galaxy thinks we are broken," Kang said calmly. "They think we are hiding in fear. They are wrong." He pressed a control, and holographic images filled the room. Ships, hundreds of ships. Designs that no alien had ever seen. Weapons that no Galactic Council species knew existed. For 15 years, we suspected this day might come, Khan continued. From the moment we entered galactic society, the Drethari treated us as inferior. They blocked our trade agreements. They spread lies about humanity. They worked to keep us weak. Admiral Cho Hai-jin stepped forward. She was a small woman with gray hair and eyes like polished steel. We prepared in secret. While we played the role of humble newcomers, our scientists studied every piece of alien technology they could find. Dr. Lim Taeyang led the effort. Dr. Lim rose from his seat, his young face serious. We did not just copy their technology. We improved it. Our ships are faster, our weapons more precise, and our shields stronger than anything the Council possesses. We built them in hidden bases throughout the asteroid belt. 200 warships, all ready for deployment. The room buzzed with murmurs. Many leaders had not known the full extent of Earth's secret preparations. Kang raised his hand for silence. But we will not use these ships for revenge. Ambassador Park's final words were clear. Do not let my death start a war. Let it end one. We will honor his wish. Then what is our response? asked the President of the United Nations Security Council. "We cannot let this crime go unanswered." "We will not," Kang replied. "But our response will show the galaxy exactly who we are. We will not become the monsters they fear. We will be something far more dangerous to the Drethari. We will be right." He revealed a document on the main screen. Operation Absolute Return. Not revenge accountability. We will isolate the Drethari economically. We will expose their corruption to every species in the galaxy. We will offer friendship to those who oppose the execution. And we will demonstrate that humanity has the power to destroy them, but chooses not to. Admiral Cho nodded. "Our fleet will neutralize Drethari military assets along major trade routes. But we will not kill unless absolutely necessary. Every disabled ship will have its crew rescued and released. Every action will follow the laws of war that humanity has developed over centuries." "The Drethari expect us to attack their civilians," Dr. Lim added. "That is what they would do. When we do not, when we show mercy to those who showed none to Ambassador Park, the galaxy will see the truth. The Drethari are tyrants. We are not." Kang looked around the room. "There is one more element to this plan. Councillor Mathal of the Veluxi has contacted us in secret. The councillor opposed the execution and possesses evidence that the charges against Ambassador Park were fabricated." Gasps filled the chamber. "Mathal is willing to defect to our side and testify against the Drethari leadership," Kang continued. "With that evidence, we can prove to the entire galaxy that our ambassador was murdered based on lies. The council will lose all legitimacy." The leaders began to discuss and debate. Some wanted immediate military action. Some worried about the risks. But slowly, a consensus formed. Ambassador Park had asked them not to start a war. They would honor that request while still ensuring that justice was served. "When do we begin?" Admiral Cho asked. "The fleet launches in 12 hours, Kang replied. "Captain Yoon Seo Yeon will command the lead battleship." She witnessed the execution. She knew Ambassador Park personally. "I can think of no one better to carry his legacy forward." Far above Earth, Captain Yoon stood on the observation deck of her new command. The ship was sleek and powerful, painted in dark colors that made it almost invisible against the void. On its hull, in bright letters, was its name, Park Jae-won. She placed her hand against the cold window and whispered, "I will make you proud, Ambassador." "I swear it." Behind her, Commander Baek Jun-seo cleared his throat. "Captain, the crew is assembled. They are waiting for your address." Yoon turned and walked to the central chamber where hundreds of officers and crew members stood at attention. They looked at her with trust and expectation. Many had tears in their eyes. All had watched the execution. "You know why we are here," Yoon began. "You know what was done to our ambassador. You feel the same anger I feel. But I must ask you to control that anger, to shape it into something better." She paused and looked at their faces. "Ambassador Park asked us not to start a war. He asked us to show the galaxy who we truly are. We will honor his request. We will fight not for revenge but for justice. We will defeat the Drethari not by becoming like them but by being everything they are not. When this is over, the galaxy will know humanity, not as the monsters the Drethari claimed we were, not as primitives from a death world, but as the species that had every right to burn their enemies and chose mercy instead." The crew stood straighter. Pride replaced some of the grief in their eyes. "To your stations," Yoon commanded. "We launch in 12 hours, and we carry the soul of our ambassador with us." As the crew dispersed, a message arrived from the Galactic Council. High Arbiter Vasuan had sent a mocking transmission to Earth, laughing at humanity's silence. "Let them come," Vasuan had said. "We will execute their soldiers as we executed their diplomat." Commander Beak looked at Captain Yoon. Should we respond? Yoon smiled coldly. No. Let him keep laughing. He will stop soon enough. In the darkness of space, 200 human ships began to move. They emerged from hidden bases in asteroids, in the shadows of moons, in places no one had ever thought to look. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. But they would learn. The first Drethry outpost fell without a single death. Captain Yoon watched from the bridge of the Park J1 as her fleet surrounded military station Korth. The station's commander had sent frantic messages to the Drethry homeworld, begging for reinforcements. None came. The human fleet had moved too fast, appearing from nowhere like ghosts. Commander Beak, status report, Yoon ordered. Their weapons are offline, Beak replied. Our electronic warfare systems work perfectly. They cannot fire, and they cannot call for help. And their life support? Untouched, Captain. As ordered. Yoon nodded with satisfaction. Open a channel to the station commander. The view screen flickered, and a terrified Drethry officer appeared. His scales had turned pale with fear, and his eyes darted around as if searching for escape. I am Captain Yoon Seo Yeon of the Earth vessel Park J1, Yoon said calmly. Your weapons have been disabled. Your shields have been neutralized. You are surrounded by vessels that could destroy you in seconds. The Drethry commander trembled. Then destroy us. That is what your kind does. That is what the High Arbiter told us. Yoon shook her head slowly. Your High Arbiter lied to you. We are not here to kill. We are here to deliver a message and offer a choice. She gestured to her crew, and a data packet was transmitted to the station. This contains evidence that Ambassador Park J1 was executed based on fabricated charges. Your leaders murdered an innocent man. They lied to the Council, and they lied to you. The Drethry commander stared at his screen as the evidence played. His expression changed from fear to confusion to something like shame. We offer you this choice, Yoon continued. Abandon your station peacefully. Board our transport ships. You will be given food, medical care, and safe passage to neutral space. You will not be harmed. You will not be imprisoned. You will simply be released with the truth. Why? The commander asked, his voice cracking. Why would you show mercy? We killed your ambassador. You did not kill him, Yoon replied. Your High Arbiter did. Your soldiers followed orders based on lies. We do not punish soldiers for the crimes of their leaders. That is not who we are. The station surrendered within the hour. Across the trade routes, the same scene repeated itself. Human ships appeared from nowhere. Disabled Drethry military vessels with surgical precision, and offered the same choice. Surrender peacefully and learn the truth, or resist and face consequences. Very few chose to resist. Those who did found their ships disabled, their crews rescued, and the same offer extended again. The humans simply would not kill unless given no other option. News spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Species that had feared humanity began to watch with fascination. The humans could destroy. They could conquer. They could burn the Drethry Empire to ashes. But they chose not to. On 100 different worlds, the evidence against the Council played on every screen. Fabricated documents. Secret communications between High Arbiter Voxuan and his advisors. Recordings of them laughing about how easy it was to frame the human ambassador. Councillor Mythal appeared in a galaxy-wide broadcast, standing beside Director Kang. I was there when they condemned Ambassador Park, Mythal said, tears streaming down the Veluxi's face. I knew the charges were false. I tried to stop it. But the Drethry control the Council. They silence anyone who opposes them. Mythal held up documents with Council seals. Here is the proof. The High Arbiter ordered the fabrication of evidence. He wanted humanity humiliated. He feared what they might become. So he murdered an innocent man to send a message. The broadcast ended with Director Kang speaking directly to the galaxy. We do not ask you to join our war. We ask only that you see the truth. The Galactic Council has been corrupted by those who value power over justice. Is this the leadership you want? Is this the future you choose? One by one, species began withdrawing from Council treaties. Trade agreements collapsed. Economic alliances dissolved. The Drethry economy, built on controlling galactic commerce, started to crumble. On the Drethry homeworld, High Arbiter Voxuan raged at his advisors. How is this possible? They are primitives. They should be weeping in their ships, begging for mercy. They are not what we expected, one advisor said quietly. They fight unlike any species we have encountered. They could destroy us, but they choose to shame us instead. Our own people are beginning to question your leadership. Then silence them. Voxuan screamed, "Arrest anyone who speaks against me." But it was too late. The truth had spread too far. Even Drethori citizens were watching the human broadcasts and wondering if their leaders had lied to them. Captain Yoon received a message from Admiral Cho. The fleet has secured all major trade routes. Drethori military capability is reduced by 60%. No civilian targets have been struck. Casualties on both sides remain minimal. What are our orders? Yoon asked. Proceed to Phase 3. The fleet will position around the Drethry homeworld. But you will not fire unless fired upon. Let them see our strength and understand that we choose not to use it. Yoon relayed the orders to her crew. The Park J1 turned toward the heart of Drethry space. As they traveled, Yoon visited the memorial she had created in the ship's chapel. A small hologram of Ambassador Park smiled at her from the altar. "We are almost there," she whispered. "Your death will not be meaningless. I promise you that." Commander Beak found her there an hour later. "Captain, we have intercepted a communication from the Drethry homeworld. Voxuan is preparing a broadcast. He's going to demand that the galaxy unite against humanity." Yoon laughed softly. "Let him try. No one will listen. We have given them truth. He can only offer them fear. Truth will win." The fleet jumped to faster than light speeds. Earth's final message to the Council would be delivered soon. 200 human ships hung in the darkness above the Drethry homeworld. Their weapons remained silent. Their shields glowed with soft blue light. They simply waited, patient as stones. Director Kang stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching the planet below. Billions of Drethry lived there. Families, children, workers, dreamers, ordinary people who had nothing to do with the crimes of their leaders. "Director," Admiral Cho reported, "the blockade is complete. No ships are entering or leaving the system. All communications are being monitored." "And their military?" "They have 60 warships in orbit. They are keeping their distance. They know they cannot defeat us, but they will not surrender." Kang nodded slowly. "Send the ultimatum." The message went out to every channel on the planet. "This is Director Kang Minho of Earth. 72 hours ago, we demanded that those responsible for Ambassador Park's murder be surrendered for trial. You refused. Now we demonstrate the consequences of that refusal." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We will not bomb your cities. We will not harm your people. We will simply wait. No trade ships will reach you. No supplies will arrive. No allies will come. You are alone with the truth of what your leaders have done." The transmission ended, and the waiting began. For the first day, Voxuan broadcast defiant messages to his people. "The humans are cowards. They fear our strength. They will not dare attack us. Stand firm, and we will crush them." By the second day, shortages began. Luxury goods vanished from markets. Certain medications became scarce. The people started to ask questions. By the third day, protests erupted in major cities. Drethry citizens demanded answers. Why had the High Arbiter started this conflict? Why had he ordered the execution of an ambassador based on false evidence? Why was he risking their economy for his pride? Voxuan tried to rally other species against humanity. He sent desperate messages to former allies, begging for support. But Council and Mythal had already united the minor species into a new coalition. The Free Galactic Assembly had formed, with dozens of species pledging to support Earth. "You have no friends left," Mythal told Voxuan in a public broadcast. "Your lies have been exposed. Your power has crumbled. The galaxy has chosen truth over tyranny." On the fourth day, Director Kang received a request for negotiations. Voxuan wanted to meet face to face. Admiral Cho frowned. "It could be a trap." "Almost certainly," Kang agreed. "But I will go anyway. If we hide behind our ships, we are no better than they are. I will show them that humanity does not fear them." The meeting took place on a neutral station between the fleets. Kang brought only 2 guards. Voxuan arrived with a full escort of soldiers. The High Arbiter looked older than Kang had expected. His scales were dull, his eyes tired. Power was slipping through his fingers, and he knew it. "You have made your point," Voxuan hissed. "Now withdraw your ships. Let us negotiate like civilized species." "We offered negotiation before you murdered our ambassador," Kang replied calmly. "You chose execution instead." The council voted. It was legal under our laws. Your laws are built on lies, and the galaxy now knows it. Voxuan's eyes narrowed. "What do you want? Name your price. Territory? Trade rights? We can make you powerful beyond your dreams." Kang shook his head. "We do not want power. We want justice. Surrender yourself and those who conspired with you. Face a fair trial under the new Galactic Assembly. Accept the judgment of neutral parties. You expect me to surrender to primitives?" Voxuan laughed bitterly. "To creatures from a death world who should still be throwing rocks at each other? Those primitives hold your homeworld hostage without firing a shot," Kang replied. "Those creatures from a death world have shown more honor in defeat than you have shown in victory. You have 24 more hours, High Arbiter. After that, the blockade tightens further." Voxuan's face twisted with rage. He made a small gesture with his hand. One of his soldiers raised a weapon. Kang did not flinch. He simply looked at Voxuan with something like pity. The shot never came. Another Drethry soldier grabbed his comrade's arm and forced the weapon down. "No!" the soldier shouted. "We will not make this worse. We have already shamed ourselves enough." Chaos erupted among Voxuan's guards. Some tried to attack the humans. Others fought to stop them. The room filled with shouts and struggling bodies. When the confusion cleared, Voxuan stood alone. His own soldiers had turned on him. They held their weapons pointed at their former leader. "High Arbiter Voxuan," one soldier said coldly, "you are under arrest for crimes against the Drethry people. For lying to us. For starting a war we cannot win. For bringing shame upon our species." Kang watched as Voxuan was placed in restraints. The once powerful tyrant looked small and broken. "You did not defeat me," Voxuan whispered. "My own people betrayed me." "No," Kang replied. "Your own lies defeated you. We simply made sure everyone heard them." News of the coup spread quickly. The Drethry military declared a new government. They immediately sued for peace with Earth and asked to join the Free Galactic Assembly. Director Kang returned to his ship and found Captain Yoon waiting for him. "Is it over?" she asked. "Almost," Kang replied. There is one more thing we must do. Ambassador Park asked us not to start a war. We honored that request. Now we must show the galaxy what true justice looks like." You nodded. "And Voxuan?" Kang looked out at the stars. "He will face trial, not execution. We will prove that justice does not require blood. We will prove that humanity can be merciful even to those who showed us none." "The ambassador would be proud," Yoon said softly. "I hope so," Kang replied. "I truly hope so." The trial of High Arbiter Voxuan lasted 3 weeks. Every species in the galaxy watched as evidence was presented. Witnesses testified, and the truth was laid bare for all to see. The new Galactic Assembly Hall gleamed with light from 100 different suns. Representatives from 50 species filled the chamber. Where the old council had been dominated by the Drethery, this assembly gave equal voice to every member. Councillor Mythal presided over the proceedings, a symbol of the new order. Voxuan stood in the defendant's chamber, stripped of his robes and titles. He no longer looked like a conqueror. He looked like what he had always been, a frightened creature who had used lies and murder to hold on to power. "High Arbiter Voxuan," Mythal announced, "you have been found guilty of fabricating evidence against Ambassador Park J1 of Earth. You have been found guilty of ordering the execution of an innocent being. You have been found guilty of conspiracy to suppress truth and manipulate galactic governance." The chamber fell silent. Everyone waited for the sentence. "Under the laws of the Free Galactic Assembly," Mythal continued, "the penalty for these crimes is life imprisonment without possibility of release. You will spend your remaining years in a secure facility, unable to harm anyone else. But you will not be executed." Voxuan looked up in shock. "You would let me live? After everything?" Director Kang rose to speak. "We would, because we are not like you. You believe power comes from the ability to kill. We believe power comes from the ability to choose mercy. Ambassador Park asked us not to start a war. He asked us to be better. We honor his memory by refusing to become the monsters you claimed we were." Voxuan was led away in silence. Some species in the chamber called for harsher punishment, but the humans remained firm. Justice had been served. More blood would not bring Ambassador Park back. The following day, the Free Galactic Assembly officially welcomed humanity as a founding member. Director Kang signed the charter alongside representatives from dozens of species. "Today marks a new beginning," Mythal declared. "The old council ruled through fear and deception. This assembly will be built on truth, equality, and cooperation. And we owe this moment to the courage of one human who died believing that we could be better." A statue of Ambassador Park was unveiled at the center of the hall. His bronze face smiled peacefully, his hand extended in friendship. Below the statue, his final words were inscribed, "Do not let my death start a war. Let it end one." 3 months later, on Earth, a different ceremony took place. The Park J1 Memorial Garden opened in Seoul, filled with flowers from every continent. Thousands gathered to honor the fallen ambassador. Captain Yoon stood near the central monument, her dress uniform decorated with medals she cared nothing about. She had done her duty. She had carried the ambassador's legacy through fire and darkness. But this moment was not about her. A young woman approached the podium. Park Yuna, the ambassador's daughter, looked out at the crowd with her father's calm dignity. She was barely 20 years old, but she carried herself like someone who had seen the weight of history. "My father was not a soldier," Yuna began. "He was not a warrior or a conqueror. He was a teacher, a diplomat, and a dreamer. He believed that the greatest strength was not the ability to destroy, but the ability to understand." She paused, her eyes glistening. "When he died, I wanted revenge. I wanted to see the Drethery burn. I wanted them to feel the pain they caused our family. But then I remembered what my father taught me. Her voice grew stronger. He taught me that hatred is easy. Anyone can hate. The true challenge is to remain good when the world gives you every reason to be cruel. My father died asking us not to become monsters. And we proved him right. Yuna looked at Captain Yoon and smiled. Captain Yoon and her crew carried my father's name across the stars. They faced enemies who mocked them, who threatened them, who tried to kill them. And they answered with justice instead of revenge. They honored my father in ways words cannot describe. She turned back to the crowd. The galaxy once saw humanity as primitives from a dangerous world. They feared what we might become. Now they know the truth. We are capable of great destruction, yes, but we choose to be something greater. We choose to be healers, builders, friends. A Drethari delegation stood at the edge of the gathering. They had come to pay respects, their heads bowed with shame and gratitude. Among them was a child, barely 10 years old, who watched the ceremony with wide eyes. After Yuna finished speaking, the Drethari child approached a human teacher who was guiding a group of visitors. "Excuse me," the child said in careful, practiced human language. "I have a question." The teacher knelt to meet the child's eyes. "Of course. What is your question? Why did you not destroy us?" The child asked. "Your ambassador was killed. You had powerful ships. You could have burned our world. Why did you show mercy?" The teacher smiled gently. "Because that is not who we are. We believe that every being deserves a chance to learn and grow, even those who have made terrible mistakes. Your leaders hurt us, but you are not your leaders. You are a child with your whole life ahead of you. Why should we punish you for crimes you did not commit?" The Drethari child thought about this for a long moment. "But were you not angry?" "We were very angry," the teacher admitted. "Anger is natural when someone hurts you. But anger does not have to control us. We can feel it and then choose what to do with it. We chose to turn our anger into something better." The child looked at the statue of Ambassador Park. "He seems kind. Even in stone, he looks kind." "He was kind," the teacher agreed. "And he asked us to remain kind, even when kindness was hard. That was his final gift to us." Years later, when historians wrote about this period, they called it the Great Awakening. It was the moment when humanity proved itself to the galaxy, not through conquest, but through character. Species that had dismissed humans as primitives now sent their children to study on Earth. The concept of justice without revenge spread through civilizations that had never imagined such a thing. The Free Galactic Assembly grew stronger each year, guided by principles that one human ambassador had died to defend. And across the stars, a new saying emerged. It was whispered by traitors and diplomats, by soldiers and children, by every species that had witnessed Earth's response to tragedy. Do not harm a human, not because they will destroy you, but because they will make you face what you have done. And that is far worse. Ambassador Park Jae-won was gone, but his legacy lived on in every act of mercy, every choice of peace, every hand extended in friendship. He had asked humanity not to start a war. They had ended one instead, and the galaxy would never be the same.